Thank you, Brutal Game Gear, for sponsoring this video. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Wilmoth, back for another episode of the Pulling Around Show. And today I'm honored to have Mr. Chris Reinhold himself. Chris, man, thanks for taking your time out and joining us.
Yeah, of course. It's great to be here. I
Man,
like the previous shows you've done. It's awesome.
I appreciate it. I'm not really able to play that much anymore, so I started this channel just to keep me in pool some form or fashion. I kind of told you a little bit about what this channel is about. It's so people can get to know you as a player, as a person, and a player. So tell us a little bit about growing up. Where you were raised and.
Well, I was born and raised in Ventura, California. I was born and raised there. I was played pool at a place called Sticks Billiards in Ventura, California, owned by Jerry Matchin. And yeah, I started when I was about 13, almost 14, but really didn't really start getting into actually playing until I was about 15 and playing tournament stuff. So yeah, but once I kind of got hooked on playing, local players and doing all that, and then I did pretty well. Then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can go branch out and try to, do more national events or, at least bigger tournaments around me. At that time, we had a lot of them. And yeah, I mean, I really just didn't get into I basically played pool there just until I went to college in Missouri, St. Charles, but St. Louis area, Missouri. When I went to school to go play pool, and it was Mark Wilson was my coach, which was pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. So, and then from there on, I just wanted to play pool for the rest of my life, and that's kind of where that stemmed from.
So, any sports in school that you played besides pool?
So I gotta get this out of the way too. My uncle Kevin Farrell got me into pool initially.
Okay.
Once he had a pool and a pool table, and one time he told me I couldn't go in the pool, and I was stuck there, and I was like, well, can I play some pool at least? And he's like, oh, I don't let people, get on my table and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna do, right? So he let me play a few games, or whatever, and noticed that I had a natural curiosity about the game, which was pretty awesome.
Right.
And he's a pretty good player himself. Has like a 56 ball running straight pool, pretty good. And then what was the initial question?
Did you play any other sports
Oh, yeah,
when you
yeah.
were in
So
school?
yeah, high school played baseball, basketball. I was a left-handed pitcher, and I was not the center, that's for sure. In basketball, I'm like 5'6" with shoes on, so 5'7". So um, yeah, so it didn't really work out basketball route, and I kind of hurt my arm playing pitching baseball. So
Right.
just decided to stick with pool, and I actually decided to. So I won junior nationals in 2015,
Okay.
and then I decided that my parents and I decided that I was going to do independent study so I can have more time to play pool, and then I was going to be able to go to China for the World Championships, and I wanted to practice as much as I could, and I just, I wanted to just have as much time to play pool, right? When I was done with baseball, basketball, that stuff. So that was about junior year of high school.
Okay.
And so I went to China, went to Shanghai, um, did all that, and that was probably the best move I could have done was get away from the sports because because tired of getting dunked on, and that's about it. So yeah, that's the only sports I played. I was an athletic person for sure.
How long were you in China?
It was just about a week trip.
Did you get to experience any of it other than pool?
It was a very different culture for sure. Very polluted when I went, sadly. We couldn't really see much of the sky, and a lot of, when you go up to the observatories, the biggest one they have, it's just you can't see anything, so it was kind of a bummer. But it was funny seeing, not funny, I'm not trying to make fun of them, but
No.
different. It was very different seeing bikes being delivered, like bicycles, delivery food and all the other stuff instead of cars. And then how everyone drove so terribly. But yeah, I never saw
Yeah,
one car accident the whole time I was there. So it was kind of funny.
they're good at being bad. Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, what was the moment that made your mind just click and say, "Hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, or as long as I'm able to play."
I don't actually think it was a moment that did that, and I think it's more just, once you get wrapped up in the competition and the want to compete, you more just say, "Hey, I have that tournament in 2 months. I'm going to work towards it." And then once that's done, you have another one that you work towards, and then, it just keeps kind of snowballing, snowballing. And I never really had a thing like I want to do this for the rest of my life. It was just like, man, I really enjoy doing this. I'm going to kind of ride it out when I can and just give it my best, right? And I think when I won junior nationals in 2015, that's when I was like, okay, I can really do this.
So in 15, who was some of your competition that's playing professionally now, or
A lot of them kind of faded out. It
really?
was like Manny Perez,
Yeah.
Josh Franklin, um, Nick Klein, Jacob Watson, Nick Evans,
Okay.
Ricky Evans. There's quite a few really good players, but they all kind of just stopped playing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think April Larson, um,
She's
a lot of
playing good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of talent in her thing, but it's not everyone wants to go through it, and that's that's understandable.
So what do you think about the two young girls that are just, I mean, just beating everybody, Sophia and Roadrunner,
Oh, Savannah Easton.
Vanna? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Two really good families. They're good girls. They come from good families. And so I did the photography for the Junior International Championships run by Ron Hanna.
Right.
And so I'm really close with a lot of these juniors just because had to see them all the time and try to help them out, blah blah blah, right? And two things I must say about when you get that good at something that young. I didn't start playing competitively till I was like 15, and they're already better than I was at 16, but they're like 12 or 13.
Right.
So, and also being a girl in the pool world is a lot different than being a guy in the pool world. There's a lot of things that you got to be careful of. There's a lot of, just I know it's just how it is, sadly. But they have good people around them, and hopefully that they won't get take advantage of as far as sponsorships and all this other stuff. Because everyone, when they're a junior, wants to be sponsored by someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they're not doing anything for you. There's no point.
True. That's true.
So unless you can gain something from the notoriety that they bring or they market you, something like that. But I think they're doing a really good job, and I think what this crowd of junior players does well is they market themselves better than, say, my generation. Because I mean they already have like a nickname and all this other stuff. I don't
Mhm.
even have a nickname. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's good. I mean, I like seeing it. They're very talented, and I think they're only going to get better from here.
So, I mean, talking about sponsors and stuff, you don't really have a Q sponsor, do you? I know that. I think we talked. I interviewed Eddie Cohen several months back. They done the Q International Q show in Oklahoma City, and then
Hmm.
we got a couple of numbers and done some interviews with them. Was it him that had given you a few cues to shoot with, or was it Jerry McWhorter?
So I hadn't really met Jerry McWhorter until I was like 18, 19. That's when he first started getting back into pool. So I
Mhm.
was already pretty established by the time I met him, but he's a very big musician,
Right.
and he kind of just does that. He took like a 5 year hiatus, and that was like the 5 years where I started playing. So I didn't really know him well, but I was friends with Eddie at the time, and Eddie made the cue that I won junior nationals with, and the cue that I took to the world championships as well.
Right.
So I mean, it's good. He does great work, and they both do great work. But um, yeah, I mean, it's Eddie's a good dude, and I do have the McWhorter Q's is my current sponsor,
Right.
but it's I use his stuff anyway, so it's like it's just we're good friends, and I'm supporting him, and he's supporting me.
Yeah, the whole whenever I got away from the production cues and started shooting with the custom cue, man, it's a whole different
Yeah,
world as far as how they feel. I never, you know, and I'm not going to reach out to Predator interview them, but I was never the only Predator shaft that I really liked was the original 314 after
right.
the pre-cat. I really liked it. I haven't. I'm not much on the carbon stuff. It's just
Mm.
now the low deflection stuff I do like, but I shoot with a right now I shoot with a Josh Sneaky Pete from the '90s with the original shaft with it with a Kamui clear tip, and I hit better with that than I hit with anything in my whole life. But this interview's not
Yeah,
about
it's
yeah.
no, it's a good setup. I mean, the thing is, with the carbon versus the wood is like I put in too many hours with the wood shaft that I physically it's changed. I have to change the way I play in order to do that, and it's just too much work to put in once you've already gotten so far.
And if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I mean, sometimes it's kind of broke, but it's okay.
So okay, so Moscone Cup, 2020, 2021. All right. So how was that experience? How was the experience better playing here or playing overseas? Um,
Um, well, so I played on overseas both times.
so 20 and 21, both of them went. Oh,
So
okay,
20 was the COVID year where
okay,
we
that's
didn't
right,
even have fans. Then the
correct.
second year was also in London, and that was when we had fans. And I personally have to say that the one with the fans is the best one because
Of
there's
course,
no other feeling like it. You can't you can't recreate it in anything but that environment.
yeah. And
So
then JJ having to play there at the last moment, and of
yeah.
course that one game he got screwed out of where he had him clean the ball. Yeah, that was
Yeah, it was wild that whole thing. But it just sucks because the first 2 years Jeremy had the captain, well he had a team that he picked. He got all five picks. He picked Justin and then he got sick. Justin Bergman got sick and couldn't play, and he's arguably our second best player
mhm.
at the time, right? And definitely after the break. And then so Corey had to come in, and Corey hadn't been hitting any balls, and he just kind of jumped in there, and he just wasn't confident, and what I mean. There's just a lot of things that go into it, and I just I don't know. I feel bad for him because then the second year he picked Earl, and then Earl gets next to he sits right next to someone on the plane that has COVID. He didn't have anything to do with that. You know what I mean? He
Right.
didn't have COVID. He didn't. And then Jeremy had to step in after not hitting balls for literally, I think he said 3 months. He hadn't hit a ball in 3 months.
And played lots out.
Played very well. Played
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. Um, is it a goal to get back on the Moscone team? I mean,
So here's the thing is if I stress about it and make that my only goal, then the whole process of it becomes a little too daunting.
yeah,
So I have to want to do the whole process, and then that goal will come as a byproduct, right?
right,
And I just lately I haven't been wanting to go through all that process right now because it's a lot to do financially and it's a
mhm,
lot to do mentally, just traveling all the time, gluing on your suitcase, right? And so a lot of these tournaments are spaced so close to each other, you don't even have time to get better in between. So
right,
there's a lot of factors, but I'm a big fan of not complaining about something if you're not going to do anything about it. So
right,
as it stands, I need to get my bankroll bigger before I can go to these events all the time,
right.
and that's just the way it is. So I would like to, but it just gonna kind of happen through me getting better and practicing like I have been lately, and kind of just making it obvious I should be on the team, you know. And that if that happens this year, great. If it happens next year, even better, you know. So
So are you living in New Orleans now?
yeah, yeah, living in New Orleans, yeah.
Um, how's the pool atmosphere down there? I mean, I know there's buffaloes. Um,
Yeah, there's quite a few pool halls. I live in Metairie. It's about 10 minutes from New Orleans. And so there are probably, let's see, one, two, there's at least 7 pool halls within an hour of where I'm at, which is pretty awesome. And the good thing is they have people willing to learn. I have a lot of students here, and I do a lot of lessons, which
mhm.
is pretty awesome. And you know, they have tournaments 3, 4 times a week. If you're a 600 and under, you could probably play in a tournament every week or match up once a week. You know, there's a lot of stuff for you to do here, and yeah, it's a great pool environment, and I'm glad I'm here. I mean, I'm hoping to stay here pretty long term.
Did you ever play in the tournament at White Diamonds?
I never went. No, I was the times when it was really big, I wasn't old enough. I think I was 18, and you got to be 21 to get in there, and then so I just never went. Um, but the last few years they haven't had or something like
No,
that.
I don't know. And I've reached out to Chris and Ashley to find out why. I mean, because that was the biggest bar table tournament in the country. You
Oh
know,
yeah, for sure.
for money wise. You know, and
Correct.
then
Correct.
I don't know if you ever played in any of the Midwest nine ball tournaments, but they've got a big one coming up the third weekend of June. The Evelyn and Danny Dysart. Evelyn, just about anybody in the Midwest or knows Evelyn and Danny. Evelyn runs one of the best tournaments, hands down, and it's an open tournament. It's at Shooters in Olathe, Kansas. No, the one
Been there
pocket,
many times.
yeah, the one pocket's already full. They took 64, and they're taking how many ever they can get for the nine ball. And I think last count there was 110, 111 players. So that might be worth a road trip.
Yeah, I'd have to play the one pocket too, I think, but I think it fell on some dates. I think it's some dates overlap on another tournament I'm going to, but yeah, I actually got second in the Midwest bar table one time. I lost to McMinn in the finals. Jay McMinn,
Mhm.
I believe. Yeah. Yeah, but I used to go there all the time. That's like 4.5 hours or so from Lindenwood, where I went to college for a
Right,
year.
right, right.
So that's where I first started you know, sneaking up on people.
Well, story is that Bergman is coming out of retirement to go play this tournament too. So we'll see. It's just
Yeah,
just rumor.
let's hope let's hope that's accurate. You know, they say that about everything, you know, then
Right.
he just doesn't show up and we're like, oh well, that's just Birdman, you know. I
It
hope it's correct though. That man needs to play more pool for
he
sure.
from what I hear, he's playing every day, but he's got one or two people, that teachers, I think, some pool room in St. Louis that's
A
a
Players Club?
maybe that he
It might be the Players Club.
that he plays religiously and wins lots of money off of him. So
Hmm, that's good.
um, I went to Metropolis, Illinois, and went and interviewed Buddy Hall back in January, and I went to St. Charles, Missouri, St. James, Missouri. Sorry, and done some Q trading, and got to started talking about Justin, and they was telling me a story about who he's been playing, and wound up getting his phone number, but he won't answer. So,
Oh, damn.
because I'm wanting to interview him for this too. Okay, so the training routine. What does your typical training routine look like? Is it when you shooting several hours a day still, or
I'm shooting like 3 hours a day minimum. The thing about it is that I do a little something different every day. I at least play the ghost just for something to do and just stay focused, right? Make sure my stroke's still in check. And then Yeah, I do a few drills every now and then, but not really anything crazy right now lately. But I'm gonna kind of give myself back into it. I've really been focusing on my health and fitness lately,
Mhm.
and I have kind of like sections for that. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this today and this today for fitness wise. But I'm gonna start making myself a schedule for pool because they have the big Buffaloes tournament coming up, and I need to be in gear for that.
Right.
So that'll be fun. And then, yeah, my practice schedule is just it's a combination of a few rail drills because they come up every game,
Mhm.
whether you're on the rail or the object ball's on the rail. Using higher spin, that kind of stuff, just keeping everything in check. That's basically it. And then just practicing shots that I think I need to work on.
So do you set for tournaments or matchup or something? Do you set a goal for yourself of like, hey, you know, this is a tournament that I want to win. Um, I mean, I know you want to win all of them, but do you set goals for yourself to obtain, you know,
Yeah, I do, but it's more simple than that. So it's basically give my best effort every shot. That's what Mark Wilson kind of ingrained in me when I was over there. And if you give your best effort every shot, one, you can win the tournament because you're giving yourself the best chance to win the tournament. And then you're going to win more matches that way, a lot of the closer matches if you give your full effort. And then you can only really understand what you need to work on if you do give your best effort every time, because then you could at least know what you need improvement on, right? Because if
right,
if you go out there and you just half-ass it, I mean, you can't you're not going to get good enough feedback on what just happened, you know, and you need that feedback for sure.
right.
So I'd say my mindset is just one ball at a time and put a good stroke on it.
So once, I mean, if you learn a new shot, because I'm sure you're like anybody else that teaches. When you teach, sometimes do you learn something by teaching that you didn't know? I mean,
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure.
I mean,
So I mean, the thing is when I before I started giving lessons, I really didn't know what I did at any time. I was just like, okay, well, I kind of do this, and then I use some feel to get here, and all this other stuff. And then you realize that you need to explain a little better if you're going to charge someone for lessons, right?
right.
So, so I had to basically learn how I played, but then explain why I do a certain way, why I do this instead of that, blah blah blah, right? And I think and you tell people, "Oh, it's easy to see from a second set of eyes because you're watching them, right?" But you're not watching yourself. So if you're not watching yourself and no one's watching you, then how are you going to know what you need to work on, right? So when I do my run out videos, I
Hmm.
watch all those and I kind of see, okay, I'm popping up here. I should have played better position here, this, that, right? So that helps too. And then just giving other people lessons kind of reinforces all the little fundamental mechanics that I need to have for my game. So yeah, 100% uh giving other people's lessons has helped me out for sure.
So, in your opinion, um, how do we get the youth more involved and interested in playing pool?
The thing is, I don't think they're not interested. I just don't think we have enough means for them to do so. Like I'm in like the worst state ever for junior pool players because the one they don't have anywhere to play because everything's 21 and over, 18 and over. If you're starting a pool career at 18, good luck
Right.
because you need 12, 14 years before you're like ready and like Joshua Filler, Alpin Ocean, all them, they started when they were 2,
Mhm.
4, 5. They already got to where I got, like experience wise, by the time I started playing pool.
Right.
It's just nuts. It's just nuts. So that's what we need is we need to somehow get the youth involved at a younger level, so that way they go, oh, I like this, and then they start doing it as their sport. That's the difference, and that's
So,
why the Europeans are on paper a lot better. And I think they have higher Fargos and they have all this because they start when they're super young. Like Albin Ocean, He ran 100 balls at straight pool when he was 9.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, like I was 20 when I did that.
Who's better, him or his sister?
In what?
Pool, non-ball pool. This pool
In
general.
pool,
Yeah.
definitely.
Um. So if a young kid come up to you and say, "Hey, I've just started playing pool," and what's a point? What's some advice you would give me as far as a practice routine? I've got, hey, I'm 10 years old. Hey, Chris, I just started playing pool. I've got a table at home. What's some
Okay.
advice that you would give me, or some pointers that you would give me that I need to practice on the most?
Man, that's so tough. I mean, it all comes down to the building that stroke, right? 'Cause if you have a good, clean, straight stroke, you can do anything on the pool table, right? Because it's all about timing and how straight your stroke is. So as long as the cue's coming back and through nice, then that's where it all starts, and that's where the consistency builds. So I would say just kind of give them an understanding on how the stroke works, right? So a little smoother back, and then use that to accelerate through. Keep the follow through because that keeps the spin and rotation on the ball in every shot. And then I would say do the Mighty X, so the straight in shots,
Mhm.
right? And just try to either follow the ball in, stop it, and draw it. That's the foundation of a straight stroke, and that's what you need in this day and age for sure.
So, what are some of your future goals for for pool?
I'm trying to figure that out currently. I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure what I'm doing currently with it. I have to decide what I want to do as far as work wise, because that's where you're going to get, because if you don't want to put in the work, you're not going to get to the next step anyway. So, I mean, the thing is, you just really have to want a goal because you're going to have to want to put in the work it takes to get to the goal. That's basically what I'm saying. So, right now, I'm more just practicing, giving lessons, trying to be the best teacher and player I could be right now, and then seeing where it'll lead me in the future. I'm not 100% sure that I want to do full-time traveling again anytime soon, but we'll see. Um, yeah, it's kind of just dependent on a lot of things. Um, but yeah, mostly just trying to feel it out and just trying to get myself better every day. That's it.
So, who's some of your biggest influences? Pool.
Mm, growing up, my favorite players were Rodney Morris, Mika Immonen, and Alex Paglion. Right. I didn't really Efren seems like untouchable. It's like
Mhm.
he's more of like he's kind of like the Michael Jordan of pool as far as like, he's got
Right,
like an aura around him,
right,
right? So I didn't really see him as I know it sounds weird, but I didn't really see him as a real person or attainable, you
right.
know? Like when I see all the stuff he does, I just go, oh, that's awesome, the magician, blah blah blah, right? But when I see people like Mika or people like Rodney back then and Alex, I see them. It doesn't seem like a fairy tale. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Efren seems like just some fairy tale. It's like he kicks the best in the world, he plays position the best in the world. It's just. But the thing I admire the most about someone like Alex Pagulayan is he's so well rounded, and he just wants to be the best version of himself every time, and that's attainable for anybody to do those things.
Right. Right.
So I'd say currently Alex Pagulayan, but when I was growing up, it was Mika and Rodney.
So, aside from pool, what are some of your passions and hobbies?
Oh, I'm super into photography. That's like my main thing I love to do. I'd shoot weddings, portraits, senior portraits, all kinds of different stuff. That's like my main. So if I had, one day left to live, I'd play a little pool, but I'd probably take more photos.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And as you look back on your career, what's a, what's a what's one of your best favorite moments, your biggest wins in pool, and then what do you feel like was your worst defeat? One of the,
Losing for your country is probably the worst feeling. Even though it's almost inevitable sometimes, it was probably the worst feeling I had when I was leaving the second one, the one in London with all the fans. When you see Europe on the table, dancing on the table, and then they're holding the trophy that you could have won, and it's not a good feeling. But that's what drives you, and that's also one of my best feelings is going out there and walking down the stairs and everyone's chanting and booing and doing all kinds of stuff. And, that to me was a success either way, no matter what happened. The fact that I got there and was put in the position to fail at such a big event,
mhm.
I mean, even I don't think I failed. I think I missed a few shots I shouldn't have, but so did a lot of other people. So, it's just you got to the mountaintop and you got thrown off it, but you're still at the mountaintop at some point. And it's pretty awesome to think about that I got all the way there from dreaming about it when I was, 15, saying, "Oh, I want to make the Mosconi Cup," and all my friends were like, "Oh yeah, you'll do it, you'll do it." They didn't. They had no clue. It's just-
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then I'll let you go. And this one's gonna make you think a little bit.
Okay,
Top 5 American one pocket players.
a one pocket. Oh,
Yeah,
is Tony American? Right? He's American technically.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'd go Tony Chohan,
Right.
5. Jeez. Um, Probably Danny Smith.
Okay.
Okay. Chip Compton.
Good friend of mine.
Okay, and then I'd probably go Freezer Scott Frost. Oh, who am I leaving out? I'd say it's somewhat close between Justin Hall, and Corey.
So
Oh, I'm not even thinking. I'm not even thinking. SVB. The
where's Alex in there?
Alex is an American, is he?
Oh, no, but he's here most of the time.
I wasn't even thinking on this list. Hold on. Let me redo this.
No,
SVB,
you're good.
SVB, Chohan. Why did you do that? You see those balloons that
I
just
have
came
no
out?
idea.
I'm not putting up my fingers anymore. That was weird. Let me see if it does it again. No. All right. That's weird. All right. Let's go SVB. Is Federer technically in this?
He is legally an American now, so that's fine. That's
Because I
fine.
can't not pick him.
It's not a test. It's just
I know, but it's just like, okay. All right. Let's just say Federer can't be in. All right.
okay.
All right. We got, because it'd make it easy if Federer's in, because he's in there. All right. SVB, Tony Chohan, Justin Bergman,
Yeah.
Danny Smith, and it's a tie between Scott Frost and Chip Compton
Okay. All right.
and Evan Lunda. I just realized Evan Lunda's not in there too.
There's a bunch of
I,
them.
I really don't follow
There's a
one
bunch.
pocket, so they can't even be mad at me because they know I don't play or follow one pocket.
They'll watch. I know Chip watches. All right.
Now, if you said 9 ball, it'd be a little more interesting.
Yeah. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate you joining me. If y'all enjoy content like this, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment and let us know how we're doing. And we'll see y'all next time on the Pulling Around show.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Oh, there it is.